Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com. And with me today is one of my dear friends and also the very first returning guest to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. He has amassed over 7,032 followers on TikTok. He has also amassed 24,500 Instagram followers. And he's also the creator of the Man of Action web series. Please help me welcome my good friend, digital entrepreneur and filmmaker, Paul Krueger.
Jacob, thank you so much, and that was one of the greatest intros I've ever heard. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you too. You're the very first returning guest.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think it's a testament to just how much I enjoy being on your podcast and you know, how skilled you are and your attention to detail. I think anybody who's on your podcast wants to come back because it's such a great experience.
Thank you. And I really hope so. I really hope so. As one of my friends said, to your mouth, to God's ears.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So those of you who do not know, Paul and I actually talked almost a year ago. And that he was one of the very first test pilots that I've done. And now we are on almost near episode 60 right now. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's been almost a year since we last spoke. So how have you grown as a content creator since the last time we chatted?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot's happened since the last time we chatted, just like in the world with 2020 and COVID. Like last time we were, chatting, the world was just in a different place. So now after COVID and everything else that's been going on, I feel like a lot shifted with me because it was like, there was this steady work, like working on set, getting on TV shows, doing all this stuff. And it was pretty smooth sailing. And then after COVID, production completely shut down. And it was like, oh, wow, like, what do we do now? Like, we moved out to Los Angeles. I moved out to Los Angeles to work in production. And now the major studios are postponing their productions because of COVID. So, I mean, I really took it as an opportunity. And I was like, yeah, this is the moment where it's like, I step up and I'm saying like, okay, I'm going to create my own content. And instead of waiting for people around Hollywood to hire me, I'm just going to start my own business and I'm just going to begin hiring people because these actors and these crews, like they need to work. And I'm like, what can I do to help them? And that's what inspired filming Man of Action. And we actually had the idea over a year and a half ago. And it just wasn't really the right time. Like I was busy with work and production. And then because of COVID, it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I'm very optimistic about pretty much every situation. So when COVID happened, I was like, okay, you know what? If everything shut down, now is the perfect time because most people are available. And I think now is like the perfect time to just go and jump in and do our own movie, do our own series. And Man of Action was originally going to be just like one short film, but it ended up being long enough. And we wanted enough content to where we're like, oh, we can actually release this in multiple episodes. And we also just got greenlit for season 2 of Man of Action. So we'll be filming season 2, which is exciting. And I'm currently writing season 2 while I'm finishing editing episode 3 and 4 of season 1. So it's cool. I think the key was just, during this really like quickly changing time of COVID and everything, to just be a self-starter, start your own thing. And I know you've been doing that for a while, which is awesome. And just take ownership and just say like, hey, we're gonna do our own thing. And we're gonna make it happen.
Awesome. I'm so proud. This is Jake's Take exclusive Man of Action season 2. Congratulations on that. I'm so proud of you. I've been watching the episodes. They're really good. We'll talk about that later. But however, we got to talk about the coronavirus because the thing is, it has changed. It's very tough. I've talked with my past interviews. I remember talking with Mike Rosa, my friend from Anabolic Aliens, and he said, hey, it was a blessing in disguise. And now he's doing phenomenal. And also having opportunities for like people like my friend Vicky Barbalak from America's Got Talent, who's launched her own thing and has taken advantage of that. So I'm very impressed with all the people that I have had on that and how they've tackled this challenge. So in addition to that, what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome regarding like the filming in California as coronavirus continued?
Yeah, I mean, just to start off with, we were actually in China January 15th, and we were there to film a movie. Like me and some of my friends, well, now they're my friends, so we became friends. but I was in China January 15th to film a movie for the next 4 months. So the next 4 months, I was going to play a U.S. Marine in this feature film that was being filmed in China. And like, it was like, okay, this is going to be the best year ever. 2020 is going to be amazing. And then 2 weeks into being in China, like coronavirus hits, and we're in China. We're pretty much at ground zero of where coronavirus began, and they had paused and postponed production in China, and everyone's like panicking because there was a group of us that went. Everyone was panicking, being like, "Wow, what do we do?" Like, we're literally like at first we didn't really believe it, and then we were kind of like just reading the news and just hearing how production was responding. We're like, no, we're actually like in a global pandemic right now with coronavirus, and we're in China while this is happening. So they shipped us back to the United States, and it hadn't hit the United States yet. So production was still going on in the United States. So I just went right back to work, was working on set on different TV shows and everything. I was doing that like a lot because I knew like, and I was working as much as I could because I was like, just in case COVID hits, I want to get as much work as I can in right now. And then, a couple of weeks, maybe like a month in back to the United States, production shut down in the United States. And we were like, and I was like, okay, well, I just had no clue what to do. I was like what we use for work and income and our lifestyle is now completely postponed due to COVID. Like nobody's filming, nobody's doing anything. Like what are we gonna do? And I kind of like rallied and got myself really motivated and was like, I've got to just step up and do something because I'm so committed to being out in Los Angeles and shooting films that there's really nothing that's going to stop me from continuing on the journey and staying persistent and staying committed. So I was like, I've got to do something. And I actually had like a pretty good string of like good things started to happen after that. And it was just really fortunate. And I was like, okay, like, I ended up like stumbling upon like a lot of extra money suddenly. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. Like with everything shut down, all these actors are available. And I just met all these like really great quality people in China. And we talked about making a film in China, but I'm like, let's just do it in the United States. And everybody's available. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. The main thing was like, everybody was just like, hey, I have time and I'm not working. So I will literally work on anything that we can find. And I was like, perfect. I have this script. Let's go film it. Ended up investing in a bunch of my own equipment, and then off we went. Production for Man of Action, and it was just going to be one film. And then we were like, let's make it like a season and release multiple episodes just to give people something to watch and build an audience around it and give people like a great experience, something they can look forward to, and also providing like an escape from all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. It's like, hey, I know everything going on in the world is really crazy. Here's an escape. You can watch our series, enjoy our series. It'll take your mind off things. It's entertaining. It's fun. And and then now we've just been approved for season 2, which is a Jake's Take exclusive. Like I haven't announced yet until today. So
awesome. I'm just happy and I'm thankful. And also in addition to all that what Paul's doing right now with Man of Action, he also has his own YouTube channel up where he's providing commentary. And I got to talk about the Future of Hollywood episode that you aired on April 13th of this year. Now you mentioned, and it's a really good episode because it definitely talks about the dynamics of how Hollywood is shifting, especially after coronavirus. So you mentioned that in the video that actors and performers are not utilizing digital platforms, should be doing that. And what are some of the benefits of posting your content digitally for my audience who are listening that are in the industry or wannabes who want to be part of our field?
I mean, that's a great question. I feel like it's so beneficial to be posting digital content because you can now promote yourself and get yourself seen and get yourself discovered by promoting your own work. And it's almost like you can build this online platform for free. You just have to create the content for it. And that's what we're in. We're in the entertainment industry anyway. I think social media and digital content is now an extension and an expansion of the entertainment industry. So it just makes sense. And I believe the future of production, I feel like we're really leading like the new wave of like the future of production because right now, I mean, I've invested in my camera gear and we're able to shoot 4K quality and it's just beautiful, crisp, clean quality. And if you watch it on a TV, like if you watch episode 1 of Man of Action on a 60-inch TV, it looks like it's a Marvel movie because the quality is still 4K. So I'm like, if we're able to get this type of quality with just the gear that I have in my backpack, I'm like, this is going to change filmmaking completely, because I believe like it's really going digital. And it's like, I also believe that like we will no longer rely as much on like massive crews and all these things. I think it's about having like more special operations teams going out and shooting this digital content very inexpensively, and then being able to distribute it online to millions and millions of people for free. Like there's no longer this thing where it's like, oh, we have to pitch it to Netflix and then they've got to see it and they've got to approve it and they've got to give us a budget. It's like, no, like with, even with like a couple $1,000s, or even before we were doing it with like no money at all, but now we're able to produce this content. And as long as our skills get better and the content gets better, it's able to be distributed to unlimited amount of people. It's just how many people can we funnel in to see these films? And it's like, but most of that is just these free resources that we can use to get our stuff seen. And I believe that there's an enormous amount of opportunities just from being seen online. And that's even how I find a lot of actors to work with and a lot of people to collaborate with, is just through social media, seeing their platform, seeing what they're creating, and being like, oh, I want to collaborate with these people because I can see that they're independently creating their own stuff. So I think it's an enormous advantage to be online.
And speaking of social media, we got to talk about TikTok, because you have been a very strong proponent of being on TikTok. Because I just want to let everyone know that Mike sat down with an exclusive conversation with Mike Kim, and Paul sat down with him, and they had it on May 14th. You can go check it out. Hopefully it's on your channel, not just your YouTube channel, but also your TikTok channel as well. And you're currently right now, TikTok is under fire and regarding the American little political field. And if TikTok is banned in the United States, how will this change the influencer community?
Yeah, if TikTok does get banned, it'll change, because a lot of people now, there's a new wave of creators on TikTok, and and it would change a lot if TikTok got banned. And I think Trump's like threatening to ban it, because a lot of some people from TikTok like boycotted one of his events, and they bought all these tickets that didn't show up to like boycott Trump. So I think he was a little salty about that. And I don't see TikTok getting canceled. I personally feel like it's almost like the type of controversy around TikTok, which is a way of saying like, hey, TikTok is now growing to the point where it can be like a threat because it's a big enough platform. I think TikTok will still keep growing. I think TikTok will be around for a while. I think it's going to be difficult to just shut down an entire platform. It could be like a Vine. It could end up being like a Vine, but even Vine had like a pretty decent run of a few years. I think TikTok will at least go another year or two, like minimum. I know there's some people who are like banking on it to go forever. I really feel like it's allowed like the reason I'm like such a proponent of TikTok is because I feel like the organic growth is there. Like you can really post pretty much anything. If you're posting consistently, and if as your content improves, it's easiest to grow. I notice for me, it's easiest to grow on TikTok than in pretty much any other platform. And I feel like a lot of other people have noticed that, and I've seen a lot of other people create these amazing opportunities through TikTok. And now their TikTok page is bleeding into their Instagram and their YouTube, and now those pages are growing a lot faster because they've built such a great following through TikTok. And I just think it's like the easiest place to grow at the moment when it comes to just pure organic growth of just posting and then gaining followers. I think it's easiest on TikTok. That's what I notice. Instagram is very saturated, but Instagram is still like a big, big, big platform. And then YouTube, in my mind, is like the holy grail of it all, because I feel like if you have, a great YouTube following, like there's a barrier to entry with YouTube, because you have to like really create something, and like it takes more time to create one piece of content for YouTube than it does for Instagram or TikTok. So I think YouTube is the holy grail, but then it's like growing a TikTok to then funnel it into your other platforms and take advantage of the current state of the organic growth on TikTok, which like I had a video get like 900,000 views on TikTok. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's like my most viewed video that I've ever posted through any platform. And then I've had like multiple videos with views in the six figures on TikTok, whereas on Instagram and YouTube, it's like, like the organic views on TikTok, it's so much easier to go viral. I believe, on TikTok, just from my own experience. So yeah, I don't think TikTok's getting shut down. I don't think it's getting shut down. And then I think it's a really great place for the organic growth. So for anybody who's just like, who has, 60 seconds a day, they post something on TikTok.
And it doesn't have to be creative. Like, we all can't be like Charlie D'Amelio, because she is phenomenal at that.
Yeah, but it's like Charlie D'Amelio, like nobody knew who she was, and then she went like really, really viral on TikTok, and now she's like really famous. Same thing with Addison Rae and a lot of these other like younger creators.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like very famous because of
They're
TikTok.
like, and they're also up to like Logan Paul, the Paul brothers, and all those people.
Yeah, and they're on TikTok too, and they're growing it. But I do think like their main thing with like Logan Paul is definitely like YouTube, and their YouTube following is like so strong, and I feel like it just has such like I think there's different relationships with like different platforms and the creators, and it's like on YouTube I always feel like I'm most connected with the creator because you get to see them in like a slightly longer form content, and it's just you just get to connect with them and get to know them better in my experience.
I agree. I gotta say that I have to bring up my friend Peter Hollins, who is phenomenal on YouTube, and the Hollins family is incredible. And hopefully I can have him back on. But also, I would love to sit down with Logan and his team, like Matt and and especially Big Mike as well. It would be an incredible conversation because his impulsive podcast is one of the reasons, is like a role model for me. And for guest wise, and this is incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean their podcast is phenomenal. Yeah, all the content that they make is great quality, and it's easy for people to follow along with it because I think it's like the new wave of these like younger creators through social media. And who knows? I also think that there could be a point where these digital creators just go and just do like a hard push into Hollywood, similar to the way like The Rock did it, going from WWE to be like, oh, I want to be in Hollywood now, and they're like, well, you can't because you're a professional wrestler. And he's like, well, just watch and there he goes. So I think a lot of these digital creators are able to do that same thing.
And same with, and then you brought up The Rock. I got to say, you also have to bring up some reality stars as well that have made a transition from reality TV to mainstream, like Elizabeth Hasselbeck went from Survivor to The View, and Jesse Goddard has actually went from Big Brother to professional wrestling, and then also same with Mike the Miz from The Challenge, and also same with Johnny Bananas as well. He went from The Challenge, and now he's hosting First Look. And also I got to mention Dan Giesling from Big Brother. He went from Big Brother just to the Twitch, and not to mention Derek Levasseur as well. Offer, and now having his own show on Investigation Discovery on Discovery Networks. That's really big for people.
Yeah, and you're really in the world of like the reality TV, and it's interesting because like I've been given like leads that might lead to being on like a reality TV show, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, should it be a good opportunity? But then knowing you, I'm like, well, you've met a lot of really successful people who got their kind of like their moment was from reality TV. So who knows? Maybe I'll try to get on reality TV, and I'll just fit the Jake's Take podcast theme of the reality TV stars.
It's not just reality TV, Paul. I've had content creators on. I've had up and coming musicians on. But a lot of the guests I've been getting are from shows like America's Got Talent and Big Brother and The Challenge, and I love it.
Yeah, it is cool. So who knows? Maybe I'll get on reality TV for you, Jake.
All right, or maybe myself. So anyway, we got to get to Man of Action because this is the main course of our conversation, guys. So how long have you been working on Man of Action?
So the idea for Man of Action, like the title Man of Action, like I knew I wanted to shoot a film called Man of Action. It was inspired by my dad. Like there was this funny thing where there was like a car that was parked. It was during the winter break when I was at college, and there was just a normal night, whatever. And then like all the way across our front lawn, there was just like a mysterious car parked out there, and we didn't really say anything or care. And then like 2 weeks later, the car is still showing up. We weren't like worried about it, but we were just like, oh, we should probably take care of it. So my dad's like, all right, that's it. I'm taking care of this thing. And he just calls the police like, oh, yes, there's a blah, blah, blah. Like just like very non-heroically, just like, oh, yes, police, can you help save us? Blah, blah, blah. The police get here, and my dad's, once the police are there and they've inspected everything and like given us a thumbs up, then my dad's like, all right, that's it. I'm going out there. and I'm taking care of this stuff. Like, I'm taking action. And my mom was like, "You see that, Paul? Your father, he's a man of action." And I was like, you know what? He is. I was like, that's pretty cool. And like, that's when it clicked. I was like, that's a great little like tagline. And I was like, you know what? I would like to turn that into a film. And then a year and a half ago, I was working and beginning to write Man of Action. So that happened probably 3 years ago when like the seed was planted. And then a year and a half ago, probably maybe even 2 years ago, like me and a writing partner were like beginning to write it. We were writing content and sketches. And I was like, I really want to do something with Man of Action. And I just want to wait for the right time. Like, cause I knew it was going to be like a special project when I started it. So I was like, I'm going to just wait for the right time. And then during COVID, it was just like, well, and then in China, I met like a group of guys who were just really cool people. And I told them like, hey, like we'll shoot a film because I have all the skills and I can make a film. So if everybody wants to be in this film, like we can make a movie. And they were all like, yeah, sure. But then when China got shut down, so then we all kind of went back to our own day-to-day stuff in Los Angeles. And then I remember calling everybody and being like, hey, like I want to shoot this film called Man of Action. I have this script written for it. It was like a 14, 15-page script. And I was like, and if you guys are interested, like we can go film this thing. And it's just crazy because it happened pretty quickly to just being like, all right, we just went all in. And I feel like it was cool because, you know, probably 2-3 months ago, I just went all in with the project and was like, yeah, this is just going to be my main focus. Like, I'm not even going to be open to accepting other work. I'm just going to work on my own project and I'm going to give it everything I got. And now we're releasing episode 3 of it. And I'm like, wow, like it's cool to be at this point where like I knew we would make it this far, but it's cool to be like, wow, we've finished production. We've filmed everything. And now we're releasing these episodes and we're 2 weeks away from releasing all of the episodes and like having a complete full first season. And the first season's 4 episodes. And we're like, but I think that's a great place to begin. And then what's cool about it is like, it's something where it's not like, oh, we have to go crowdfund or we have to ask like Netflix or Hulu or something to green light this thing. It's like, no, because like I'm the network in this situation. So I get to green light it because I'm paying for it out of pocket. So I'm like, I'm giving it the green light for season 2. Like, let's go and shoot a season 2. I feel like it just went really well and it's created a lot of opportunities for everybody. So it's like, yeah, like, again, that's an advantage. Like the digital creator mindset is like, we don't really need approval from like, you know, a big business, or we're not asking anybody like, hey, like, can you help us make this? It's like, no, like we have all the resources we need to do an entire second season. And based on like the response we're getting from the first few episodes, we're like, yeah, like let's do it. Like let's launch into a season 2. And then the goal would be to do 10 seasons over the next couple of years and really make this long journey and this amazing thing, because I think it's just the right people, the right place, and the right time. And we have a huge vision for it. And all of it really falls on like the success of it all falls on like how hard am I willing to work, how much am I willing to put into it, because if the success or failure of it is nobody else's fault and it's nobody else's responsibility except for mine. So I love it because I'm like, it's all on me to make this happen. So either I make it happen or I don't, but that's all on me. So I'm like, yeah, let's push this thing to 10 seasons if we can, you know?
And I think 10 seasons is a great number. And I think like look at Big Bang, look at Friends, look at Modern Family. Those are really good shows and they're really remembered by it. And they've hit over the 10 season mark. So let's talk about the story of Man of Action. So what is that story and why should my audience check it out?
So they should check it out because it's just a fantastic new series. It's about a guy, his name's Tom Cross, and he's currently working at an agency, a government agency, but the agency's corrupt. So Tom wants to escape the agency, but because of like the corruption in the agency, if he tries to escape the agency, he risks his own life because the agency might turn on him and then try to kill him. So he's got to plan this escape of how is he going to get out of the agency? What is he going to do? And that's the premise for season 1. I won't spoil anything. We have episode 3 coming Monday, which is actually the 31st, so August 31st. Episode 3 will be released. And then again on September 7th, the 4th and final episode will be released. And then on the 14th, we'll be releasing all of it, the entire season, in one long form piece of content, which will be about 12 to 13 minutes most likely. But each of these episodes, I mean, what's great about it is they're like these bite-sized episodes, so you can just sit down and watch, a 2, 3, 4 minute episode, enjoy it, and then continue with whatever you're doing. But it's just it's so consumable, these quick, like great quality episodes. So that's season 1, and I won't spoil. If I say what happens in season 2, it'll ruin season 1. So that's all I'll say about that.
I totally understand. I can only have one Jake Steak exclusive on one episode, so I'm fine with that. So anyway, I definitely think Quibi would be perfect for this platform. Quibi would definitely be perfect for this, especially since it's all like bite size.
You know what? I agree, and you may have just planted a seed where like maybe somebody from it's Quibi, right? It's not Kibby.
Yes, Quibi, yes.
Maybe somebody from Quibi finds it because the full season's going to be about 10 to 12 minutes. And I know they specialize in that length of content. So who knows? It could be something where maybe we connect with somebody from Quibi, or maybe they find us and Man of Action makes it on Quibi. But that's a great suggestion. I'm like, oh, you just planted a seed, my friend. Like, let's go. Like, who knows what's in store for us,
Awesome. So before we leave Man of Action, I got to talk about your cast. And so you pulled in actors from various shows and films to play these characters. Can you describe the casting process with my audience and these actors? What shows can they recognize from that they play roles on that are on the cast?
So you can recognize the cast from the show Ballers. One of them's on screen with Dwayne Johnson. Also, some of them have been in feature films, some indie feature films. One of the actors served in the Marines I believe he served for like 7 or 8 years in the Marines, served in Afghanistan. And then also, I'm trying to think, Amazon Prime, there's Lies on Demand, Ballers, and a couple other movies. But yeah, it's cool because like, also like the way the casting process worked was like, these people were just like my friends. Like they're like, oh, like I'm just friends with these guys. And I think with casting, it's like, yeah, I can put a listing online. There's a website called LA Casting or Actors Access where I can post like, hey, we're looking for these types of actors, with these qualities and this profile. But I feel like the process of like making these movies is such, like, you spend so much time with these people that it's like, well, if some of my friends are like these great accomplished actors, like why not? Like it wouldn't make sense to cast anybody else except for them. So we're just using the people that we have around us because I've like intentionally surrounded myself with great actors. And it's cool because they're all looking to work, and on screen, like they do a great job. And this is what I'm like, when I'm reviewing the footage, I'm like, man, these guys are great actors. Like they do a really good job on screen. So the casting process was really just like, okay, I've intentionally been like making friends with actors because I know that I want to collaborate with them. And now we just have a great group of people around us. And it feels like, I mean, especially moving to a new city, like you kind of need to like make new friends and everything. And it finally feels like we found like a good group of people that we can build around and build a lot of stuff with. So
I'm happy for you, my friend, with that. So second to the last question. So what are some of your favorite social media besides Facebook, TikTok, IG, and why do they stand out?
yeah, I mean, I think for me, the platforms I use on a day-to-day basis is TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Not necessarily in that order. I'm also working in some LinkedIn as well because Gary Vee recommends using LinkedIn and TikTok, and I just take his advice. Like he's a successful dude.
He is. Gary Vee is absolutely incredible. I would love to do an interview with Gary Vee one of these days.
Yeah, he would be a great guest. But these are all the main platforms that I'm using, and I just think this is like where a lot of people are. This is where a lot of people are using. This is when you open your phone. It's like, how many times a day do you check Instagram?
Absolutely, Paul. So where can my audience find you on social media, and where can they watch Man of Action and all your previous clips that we discussed in this conversation?
So they can watch Man of Action on my YouTube page. My YouTube channel is Paul Krueger. You can actually type in youtube.com/Paul Krueger Films. That's PaulKrueger Films, FILMS. Paul Krueger Films. That'll take you to my YouTube homepage, and there you can see the episodes listed. You can also follow me on Instagram at Paul J. Krueger and TikTok at Paul J. Krueger, PaulJKrueger. Those are the best places to find me. And if you find me through this podcast, feel free to reach out, send me a DM or send me a message, and I'll be happy to chat and, and connect for sure.
Awesome, guys. Now, to download more episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Once again, it's Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, Jacob Elyachar podcast, and all those 4 platforms. And also, guys, please subscribe to my social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all Jacob Elyachar. That's very easy. And I hope to connect with you guys on there as well. And finally, to visit my original interview with Paul, and also more interviews and reviews, head to jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. And Paul, what can I say? Thank you so much for being the first guest to come back, the first returning guest. I really appreciate it. I'm so proud of all the stuff that you have accomplished. And I have a feeling that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Let's go. Jacob, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Love your podcast. Love the way you operate your podcast, and I'm always happy to be a guest.
Awesome, guys. Well, everybody have a fantastic day. And until next time, enjoy your day and make sure it's a good one.